Joining us now is Sameh Shoukry. He's the Egyptian ambassador to the United States. Mr. Ambassador, welcome here to CNN. I know this has been an incredibly tense period for you and for all of Egypt. I have a lot of questions for you, but I want to bring in our senior White House correspondent, Ed Henry, for an update first on what the Obama administration is doing about all of this. Dramatic developments today. Ed, update our viewers on what the U.S. is up to.
Well, Wolf, you're right. It's been another intense day here at the White House as top officials try to monitor the situation. It started very early this morning when Tom Donilon, the president's national security advisor, convened what they call a principals meeting, essentially cabinet secretaries, other top officials. This ranged from the CIA director, Leon Panetta, to Admiral Mike Mullen, the chairman of the Joint Chiefs, coming over from the Pentagon, Vice President Biden, Secretary of State Clinton, joining both of them by secure teleconference, as well as a Treasury Department official. Interesting, it shows how it touches international finance. In addition to defense, intelligence, the implications are just enormous. Then at about 1 p.m. Eastern time, the president himself convened a second meeting here at the White House. Again, a lot of top officials, including his new chief of staff, Bill Daley. We're told that during that meeting, the president was firm with his staff in saying that he wanted to send the message once again to the Egyptian government, as he did last night in that direct phone call to President Mubarak, that in the words of a White House aide, quote, he reiterated our focus on opposing violence and calling for restraint, supporting universal rights, and supporting concrete steps that advance political reform within Egypt. Now, we will hear that same message again tomorrow when Secretary of State Clinton takes the extraordinary step of appearing, as you've been noting, on all 5 Sunday talk shows here in the United States. She will again repeat the message that the U.S. was disappointed with what President Mubarak had to say last night. They've also threatened here that U.S. aid to Egypt, including $1.3 billion per year in military aid, could be on the line. But as you know, Wolf, this White House is acutely aware that they can't push the Mubarak government too hard because they don't know if his government were to fall. And that's a big if. Who would fill that power vacuum when you've got other U.S. allies like Israel right in the neighborhood? The stakes for this administration, obviously, are just enormous, Wolf.
Ed Henry's at the White House. Ed, stand by. The Egyptian ambassador to the United States, Ambassador Shoukry, is here with us. Are you in touch with the U.S. government? Do you meet with U.S. officials during this crisis?
I've certainly had very minute-by-minute conversations yesterday with members of the administration. There have been messages going back and forth, and we have been trying to coordinate and cooperate as much as possible with the U.S. administration.
What about today?
Today, there's been a lack of communication.
Lack of communication. Why is that?
Well, I have not received any direct communication, and I have no instructions to conduct any. So,
is there a government in Cairo that is giving you instructions?
Well, certainly the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and other government institutions are in place and do communicate with us.
But they haven't given you any new instructions today?
There have not been any new instructions or communications.
Is there a foreign minister?
The foreign minister is currently in Addis Ababa attending the African Union Summit, and he will be returning to Cairo soon.
He better get back soon. It seems like, yeah, you got a crisis in Egypt right now. It's not necessarily a good place for him to be in Addis Ababa right now.
We are in the process of forming a new government in any case, and we expect that hopefully within the coming day or two, the new government will be in place.
An extraordinary statement came out from the leaders of Britain, France, and Germany today. David Cameron, Nicolas Sarkozy, Angela Merkel. Among other things, they say this: the Egyptian people have legitimate grievances and a longing for a just and better future. We urge President Mubarak to embark on a process of transformation which should be reflected in a broad-based government and in free and fair elections. You want to react to that?
Well, I think it's very apparent that the demonstrations that Cairo has seen and other parts of Egypt have indicated that the Egyptian people, they are most concerned with their well-being, and they are the owners of their future. They will continue to strive for their economic and their social and political development. They have aspirations. They have taken advantage of developmental programs in the past, and I'm certain that greater expediency and greater speed of instilling reforms is one of the major calls.
I want to take a quick break, but I want to continue this conversation. But do I hear you saying that President Mubarak is ready for a peaceful transformation to someone else?
I am speaking about reform, which is, I think, quite apparent in the President's statement yesterday, where he accepted the need for greater reforms, speedier reforms, and has indicated that the direction of the new government will be one that will concentrate on effecting reforms that will impact in a positive manner the Egyptian people.
Stand by for a moment, Ambassador. We're going to continue our conversation. We're also going to go to Alexandria, Egypt, where protesters are very angry at President Mubarak. They're yelling their frustration at CNN's cameras.
I assure you that I am working for the people and giving freedoms of opinion as long as you are respecting the law. There is a very little line between freedom and chaos.
We have breaking news just coming into us here at CNN, coming to us out of Egypt. It is now being reported by Egyptian state-run television, Nile TV, that close to 1,000 prisoners have escaped from a prison in Fayum, which is about an hour outside of Cairo. It is our understanding from the reporting that is now going out on Nile TV that these prisoners are now on the road heading to Cairo, and that they're on the streets causing chaos and anxiety for families, that families are scared. We have been telling you throughout this hour that neighborhoods in Cairo and around Egypt have had to form these vigilante groups to protect their property and protect their persons from groups that are out there looking to loot and basically cause trouble. Now we're getting this word coming into us from Nile TV, Egyptian state-run television, that close to 1,000 prisoners have escaped from a prison in Fayum, which is about an hour outside of Cairo. Wolf, an extremely troubling development.
Very troubling, shocking, Aisha. Let's ask the ambassador of Egypt to the United States, Ambassador Shoukry. How is that possible? How does that happen? 1,000 prisoners escaped from a prison outside of Cairo and are now running amok?
Well, it's certainly disturbing news, and it's a demonstration of a degree of chaos and lack of security that has emanated from these events.
What happened to the police?
It is unclear to what extent the police forces are still undertaking their responsibilities, but at the same time, I think we have to mention that I personally, and I think many Egyptians, are very confident in the capabilities of the armed forces who have taken to the streets.
That's the military, but you differentiate the military from the police.
Definitely.
The police seem to have disappeared, according to our own eyewitness reports.
From news reports that I'm monitoring, as I'm sure you have been, there is a lack of police presence, but at the same time, there is a high degree of confidence in the ability of the military, the armed forces, who have been in the streets, who have been received very affectionately by the people, who are there to protect the demonstrators, to protect public and private property, and I'm sure that they will be able to handle this situation.
Well, you may be more optimistic about that than me, but these are live pictures, by the way. We're seeing it's relatively quiet now as we approach 2 a.m. in Cairo. Live pictures from our Cairo bureau. I'm sure you've been in touch. You have loved ones, you have family members in Cairo and elsewhere. What are they saying to you?
Well, there is, of course, a sense of crisis. They are all concerned about their country. They are all loyal and loving of Egypt and want to see Egypt in the best possible light. And, of course, there is the security dimension. But people have taken the responsibility upon themselves, among them my younger son, who has joined a neighborhood watch, who is protecting private property. And
what is he saying to your son?
He is saying that there is a great deal of solidarity among his neighbors. And they are
But they're afraid of what?
They are afraid. There have been reports of hooliganism, of lootings, of attacks on private property, and they are banding together to protect each other.
But they don't have guns. Maybe they have some knives.
I think they are resorting to their numbers. They are resorting to their ingenuity and to their ability to fend off any attacks. Most of these attacks have been sporadic, have been isolated, have been perpetrated by some hooligans, some criminals, and when they see resistance, they have tended to not face the confrontation.
A lot of us are shocked by what we're seeing, especially those of us who have been to Egypt on many occasions. You've lived there your whole life. Are you stunned by what has happened so quickly?
It's a remarkable development, but Egypt is an important part of the Arab world. Its importance rests in the strength of its population and their resourcefulness and their ability to overcome difficulties.
President Mubarak has been in power for 30 years. He's never allowed a vice president to emerge, but today he names Omar Suleiman, a man you know, as the new vice president. What does that mean now that he has finally decided at age 82 to allow Egypt to have a vice president?
The demonstrators, I think, had indicated their concern related to the future, and this comes as one of the many steps, I'm sure, that will be taken to reassure the public in terms of the ability to Egypt's institutions to continue to operate and to continue to provide by the government and its the personnel who lead it, the leadership and the capability to fulfill the aspirations of the people.
We showed our viewers some pictures of him being sworn in by the president. Can we now assume, in advance of elections, if something were to happen to President Mubarak, if he decided to step down or flee or do whatever, that Omar Suleiman would then emerge as the next president of Egypt?
Constitutionally, if the president is incapacitated or leaves office, the presidency in a temporary manner is transferred to the Speaker of Parliament, who is under obligation by law to conduct elections within 60 days to elect a new president.
And so what would be the role of Omar Suleiman, the new vice president?
That is the Constitution. Of course, Mr. Suleiman's position as vice president leads him to take an active role in continuing to be active on the political scene and to continue to be a contact point and a coordinator of government activity.
He's been the head for many, many years of all of Egypt's intelligence services, the security services. He's well known to U.S. officials at Washington, the Pentagon, the National Security Council, the CIA, well known to the Israelis and to many others in the Arab world as well. Tell us about this man.
Well, certainly, before that, he has a well and prominent military career. He is well respected by Egyptians for his credibility and personal integrity. And, as you mentioned, his long association with the internal and external dimensions of politics and relationships.
Do you think he would be more acceptable to the people who are demonstrating on the street than President Mubarak is?
Well, he, like I say, I think he is held in high regard. He has a lot of personal credibility and capabilities, and I'm sure he is recognized for that, and in many quarters he is held in high esteem.
This new government that President Mubarak named today, including the new Prime Minister Ahmed Shafik, almost all of them are very deeply experienced former military generals, including Prime Minister Shafik, a former Air Force general. The key to what happens in Egypt, a lot of experts have suggested, is what the Egyptian military winds up doing. Will they stay loyal to Mubarak or move to the people on the streets? What's your assessment?
The Egyptian military has always been the safety valve for Egypt. It protects its citizens, it protects its borders, and it is held in high regard and esteem. It is a professional force that has always demonstrated its ability in times of crisis to create stability and provide the welfare for the Egyptian people.
Because if Mubarak loses the confidence of the military, it's over for him.
The military is an important aspect of Egypt and Egyptian politics, and it is necessary, of course, of such an important institution to have a role in the formulation of Egypt.
We'll stay in very close touch with you, Mr. Ambassador. We want to wish, obviously, to all the people of Egypt only the best. This is a real crisis that's unfolding, and lives are at stake, as we all know, and we wish your family, obviously, safety in Egypt as well. Thank you for coming in.
Thank you.